Hello and welcome to the Rotherham Advertiser Sports Chat Podcast. Joining me around the table is Miller's correspondent David Beddows.
Hello.
And news editor Michael Upton.
Morning.
Right, gentlemen, it was Neil Warnock's first game in charge, just a day after he was appointed as the new Miller's manager, succeeding Neil Redfern in the dugout. Dave, there were positives there, weren't there?
I mean, it could have easily gone wrong, couldn't it? I mean, Neil had only, 2.5 hours with the players on the Friday morning. Not the best prep. He's come in fresh, just getting on first name terms with a lot of them. It could have, easily gone belly up. But they did what they hadn't done in the previous two games. There was no mistakes. They were solid, like you say, off the ball. And they gave themselves a chance of winning the game, which they've not done enough of late.
Michael, how important is that? I mean, 0-0 against a promotion chasing Birmingham, although that promotion push is faltering slightly now. But still, Rotherham giving that good account of themselves, that honest, hard-working display, even if there's still work to be done on the ball.
Well, absolutely. I hate to sound like an expert here, but I've been saying, and as the rest of us have all season, what they need is a clean sheet, and that does come in some respects from hard work and a bit of dedication. I think, to be fair, we expected him to put a shift in on Neil Warnock's first game. You can't expect it all to come right straight away. New managers tend to bring a bounce, and it'd be nice to see a bit more happening up front, but Birmingham are a good side. It's a very good point.
Dave, another positive from the game, Greg Halford coming back in for his 17-minute cameo or whatever it was at the end of the game. He came on in a midfield position and then following Richard Wood's dismissal he dropped back into centre half and he played well, didn't he?
He did. I mean, Neil's stoked about this, hasn't he? Putting an arm around players who've maybe not been involved and getting back in the group. It's all part of his plan to get the group more united and together. I mean, I noticed Lewis Buxton were on the bench as well on Saturday. And Alford, we know he's a decent footballer, we've just hardly seen it since he came. I mean, he had a wretched start to the season, he lost the captaincy, he's been communicating through Twitter. But on Saturday, he got on the ball, he was composed. I spoke to him afterwards, he said he's comfortable playing whatever position, and that showed how versatile he is. Started midfield, slipped into centre half in place of Wood when he went off, and he looked really comfortable and could have scored.
Nearly scored an overhead kick as well.
Absolutely.
Michael, do the fans forgive and forget?
I don't know. I suggest you talk about the overhead kick after Richard Wood tried one last weekend.
Yeah.
What is it about? Centre halves. I think they will if he plays well. I think it'll be interesting to see what his best position is. Sometimes it's possible for players to be jack of all trades, master of none. Dave talked about his opening to the season, Halford. He was a calamity waiting to happen, wasn't he? He gave away a dodgy penalty, and my memory of him from that opening day, smashing Tom Thorpe in the face with that back pass. Perhaps he might be better in midfield, where if he can make a mistake while trying to play, and it won't have such drastic consequences. But the guy's got some ability. So, if Warnock sees something in him, then I think he needs to make the most of everyone in this squad.
Well, Warnock has managed Halford before at Sheffield United, of course, and it could be like a new signing, couldn't it, Dave?
It could. I mean, he's talked about Alford having strengths and weaknesses, and he wants to work on his strengths, as Neil. And he notably brought him on in midfield, didn't he? I've seen him play up front pre-season. We know he can do the job at the back, but Richard Wood, I would have thought, would have continued in the team had he not got sent off. So the jury's out where Alford is going to be used.
That leads us nicely on to the two sendings off late on for Rotherham United. Richard Wood went first, 2 yellow cards, clumsy tackle the second one, it was a yellow card, but he played really well before then, hadn't he, Dave? He was a man mountain at the back.
It was, and he did well, he did do well, and I don't think you can really complain with the dismissal. I thought Matic were a bit unluckier. I mean, refs often Warner play, won't they, with the second one? They'll often Warner play to where he up with their throw-in.
Yeah, of course, he got sent off for time wasting right in the dying depth of the game.
And that's it. I just wonder if the referee remembered that Matic was on a yellow, whether he would have actually brandished the yellow card.
Yeah, it did look a little bit foolish, didn't it, Michael, when he branded the yellow card and then needed pointing out by a number of Birmingham players that Matic had already been booked.
Well, that's referees for you, I suppose. It's an unfortunate one, but I think losing one player for one game is not going to be the biggest crisis.
Two players for one game.
I mean, in terms of Matic, it's not going to be a major crisis. It happens so rarely, this. We were saying before the podcast that a player is sent off for time wasting, and I'm amazed he didn't get warned for it. If you think about goalkeepers taking 5 minutes over a goal kick, and very rarely would you see them get booked, let alone sent off.
Well, that feeds into Dave's theory that maybe the referee had forgot he'd booked him.
Quite possibly. I suppose you've got to follow it through when you're reminded. players are known for trying to persuade the officials, but you can't argue with what's in your notepad, can you?
Yeah.
Any conspiracy theory to ex-Sheffield Wednesday players getting sent off and Neil Warnock, ex-Sheffield United manager's first game in charge?
Not at all, not at all. Although we actually gave Sheffield Wednesday a favour by drawing with Birmingham.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think they're needing too many favours at the minute.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think if they were conspiring to get sent off, time wasting is not the easiest way of doing it, because as we said, it's quite difficult to get booked for it. Perhaps Joe Matic would have gone and hacked somebody down.
Yeah.
So looking forward then, Dave, signs to be optimistic if Neil can get them playing on the ball a little bit more, get a little bit more creativity in there. Andrew Shinnie, of course, back for the next game.
That's it, and he's going to have one or two enforced changes now anyway, Matic and Wood missing, so if he wants to see one or two players what they can do, it's going to be an opportunity. We are going to see changes, aren't we? I mean, it's the next run, we don't really get any daylight, do we? So-called easier fixtures until what? Well, into March.
But Rotherham, as we've said before, Rotherham have picked up more points against top half teams than they have against bottom half teams this season. So depends which way you look at it, doesn't it, Michael?
We've got absolutely nothing to lose. Burnley are a good side, but and so are Reading and Brentford, and it's a series, isn't it, of tough-looking games. But we've said before, consistently rubbish against the bottom half, consistently good against the top half. Everyone will expect Burnley to win. So why not? Why can't they be surprised by a bit of solidity and actually taking a chance or two up front?
That's right. I mean, there's going to be no revolution here. The principal's going to be saying Rotherham have got to stay in games.
He's still got the same players to work with for the vast majority.
There's not going to be vast changes, maybe one or two. And we've got this tough run coming up. Rotherham have just got to stay in touch by the time they bump into MK Dons and Bristol again. Thankfully, we've both got them to play. Although this 5-point gap looks big at the moment, there's a chance to pull it back.
I mean, that's so unfortunate. You have a coronation on the same day as your two of your relegation rivals happen to pick up very important victories.
Yeah, no one saw that coming, did they? And it's hammered a nail, hasn't it? It's a tough one to take.
You don't want it any more than 5 points, do you? Even at this stage, and being at the bottom, when it gets up to 6 and 7, it's getting daunting. So, like I say, they've got to stay in touch.
They have, that's true. Right, gentlemen, let's take your predictions for the next game. Dave, what are we saying?
I'm going to go for a well-planned 1-1 draw at Burnley on Saturday by Mr. Warnock.
It's not like me at all, but I actually think they might lose this one. I think, having said that they could be solid and all the rest of it, I think Burnley are just looking too good at the moment. I think it'll be close. I think it might be 1-0 or 2-1. But I'd be delighted if they got a point at Turnbull.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Remember, at home, if you want to join in, have your prediction, have your say on anything we've spoke about, you can tweet us at RodTiserSport. Make sure you pick up Friday's Rotherham Advertiser for all the reaction from Neil Warnock's first game in charge, as well as the preview pieces of the Burnley game on Saturday. Thank you very much for listening.